So hello and welcome to the Canadians and Refugees Building Bridges Together CRBBT webinar. Let's be a hero in someone's story is the theme for this webinar, and we appreciate you taking the time to join us, and we look forward to an incredible online event together. My name is Mia Somer and I am one of the co-hosts for our webinar. I would like to welcome all of you on behalf of Canadians and Refugees Building Bridges Together. This is a very unique and life-changing humanitarian project where we believe that humanity does not have any borders and every human deserves a free life. CRBBT is a project under Rethink Policy Change, which is a registered nonprofit and also a corporate social responsibility wing of Bonds Management Group. Now, I would like my co-host Rebecca to share a few points with you and have a quick overview of today's agenda as well.
So hello, everyone. My name is Rebecca. I am an MSW student working on this project. And before we get started, we just want to go over a couple of points to help this webinar run smoothly. We ask that all participants keep their microphones muted. And the moderators for this webinar are Mian, myself, Zara, and Robin. If you have any questions during the webinar, please feel free to use the chat function to either send a message to the group or directly to one of the four of us. There will be a question and answer period at the end of the webinar, and you can ask any questions during that time by either utilizing the chat or by raising your hand and speaking out. So we do have a quick agenda just to give you an idea of what we're going to kind of go over. So Mia, can you share that?
I can speak verbally meanwhile. So first of all, we are going to request Mr. David Bonds to give us an introduction about the project and the activities. And then we have our newcomer and refugee friends, Ali Raza, Siddiq, and Rahmat Ali joined from Indonesia. They are going to share with us their newcomer experience and journey as a refugee. After that, we have a panel discussion along with our sponsors. And one of our sponsors are David Bonds, Claire, Carrie, and Fernando. They are going to share with us their experiences as sponsors. And after that, we are going to show refugee artwork. We have such an incredible artist over back in Indonesia. And we have compiled a short video based on their art pieces that we are going to share with you. And we will give you a short tour to our website where we will share with you a few of the resources. And then after that, we have a very talented pool of students, and they are going to share with you their own experiences. And then again, we would like to request David Bonds is going to talk about human connections, corporate social responsibility, and how people can get involved. And at the end, we're going to have a question and answer session and closing remarks. So that is agenda for today, and I believe you can see my screen now. Okay. Now, let's move on to the next formal agenda item, and that is Mr. David Bond, who is going to give us project introduction. I just want to tell you that David is not only the founder and president of Bonds Management Group, which is a consultancy firm, but he is also the founder of this project. And he has personally sponsored many refugees so far. And at BMG, we believe that corporate social responsibility is a shared responsibility, and we should work together to create caring communities for our own future. Now, I would like to ask Mr. David Bonds to provide an update on CRBBT and how it all started.
Okay, thank you so much, Mian. I really appreciate the introduction and really welcome everybody who took some time out of their busy schedules to be here tonight. This is a very important project for all of us. We bring such passion to this because we get so much out of it ourselves. And I wanted to give you a little bit of background about where this all started. Actually, couple of years ago, I was invited to get to know about the private sponsorship program that Canada offers, and I didn't know anything about it. Like many, you probably had not heard much about the private sponsorship program either until you get involved. I got involved. I got involved with some folks. Actually, one person's on the call tonight. And I started to think about how can we do something more? How can we really bring Canadians together? Because it's really about integrating newcomers into our society. It's really about building bridges. It's really about helping each other create a more gentle society. And we've all lived through a lot of traumas here, and every part of the world has. But I think it's time that we find a gentle way to make connections. So it started to grow, and we started to get more people who shared our passion to come together. The students that are on the call tonight are an incredible example of how this has all worked, how they have come on board, didn't know what they were getting into, and found themselves getting really invested in doing the work that's so meaningful to them. The point I want to get across, I think, more than anything else, is this is a two-way street. We obviously offer something that the newcomers welcome and need to move their lives forward. But it's also something that we get so much out of ourselves. What we learn from our newcomer friends is enormous. And I wanted to share that, and I wanted to figure out a way that we could grow this community. How can we network? How can we talk to people? How can we bring other people on board? Because I know we're out there, but we want to touch their hearts in order to get them involved and explain how they can get involved, the roles that they can play. So that's how it all started. Building caring communities is something that we're all very passionate about, and we'll hear more stories about that as we go on. And the building bridges is a critical and important metaphor for us, I think, because it really talks about how we build bridges between each other, not only about our newcomers and Canadians, but about each other Canadians that are here. Many of us have met other Canadians on sponsorship teams that we didn't know before, and we created a bond with them as well. So this road goes many different ways, and it's so exciting to be part of this journey. And I'm going to now turn it over to Rebecca, who is going to have a conversation with Sadiq and Ali and Ramat and Zara, and just open up this conversation. This is very informal. We just want to talk and share stories tonight and to get people more involved. So over to you, Rebecca.
Okay, so I just have some questions for you guys. I don't know if they were sent to you before or not, but
Yep,
if not,
they were.
you guys will be good to go. So my first one is actually specifically for Ramat. So I was hoping you could share a little bit about yourself with everybody.
Sure. Good morning and good evening, everyone. Actually, it's just good morning for me. It's around 6 a.m. in the morning here in Jakarta. My name is Rahmat Ali. I'm 25 years old. I'm an Afghan refugee waiting here in Indonesia for the resettlement for nearly a decade. Approximately 13,000 refugees are staying in Indonesia for resettlement, and nearly 7,000 of them are Afghan refugees. Okay, I should talk about my life here. Well, life in here is very tough. It's surrounded with lots of problems and obstacles as we go on. However, I'm trying my best to make the best use of my time to stay productive, keep myself busy with the activities that's going to benefit me later in the future. Meanwhile, waiting for my sponsorship processes. And I have to tell you that once my application went in and I came to know this community, my life got changed drastically, because after that point, I really did not have any hope that I will ever be resettled for another country, because based on what the UNHCR says, that only 1% of the refugees from all over the world will be resettled from the quota that they receive in Indonesia. And currently I'm unemployed. Refugees in Indonesia, they cannot work, and there are many more restrictions. However, I'm really looking forward to study educational and behavioral psychology upon arriving in Canada. That's my dream job. I'm really looking forward to do that. And yeah, it's really great to be part of this Canadian and refugees building bridges together community. And I'm really encouraging everyone to come visit our weekly Zoom call that we have or every Sunday morning, Canada time. So I'm sure you'll never regret it. There's lots of unique stories. There's a lot of inspiring people that's going to melt your heart away. And I'm sure the little help that you can offer, it's going to change your life forever. Thank you.
Matt, you answered all my questions in one go.
Yeah, I just thought to keep it short, you know.
It was perfect. It was perfect. Good job.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing.
No problem.
So Sadiq and Ali and Zara, whoever wants to answer first is fine. And if you guys each want to just answer one question, that's fine too. So my first question is, same thing. If you guys could each just though introduce yourselves and just tell a little bit about you, that would be perfect.
I can go first. Can I? Yeah. So hello everybody, I'm Zara. I'm from Iran and I'm a graduate professional communication student at Toronto Metropolitan University. Currently, I'm doing my internship with BMG as a marketing communication expert. Also, if I want to talk about my challenges here, one of the biggest ones obviously has been navigating the job market, because of the chaotic situation in the job market now. So at first I felt a little bit adrift, unsure like how to find a good network and land a job here in Canada. But because I'm still a student, I have a long way of course to go. And after graduation, I want to focus on landing a really good job. So I guess the challenge of being a newcomer in Canada currently is finding a good job. Yeah. So this is my story. And also don't forget to follow us on social media.
Thank you, Sarah, for sharing. Sadiq or Ali?
Yeah, hello. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon and good evening and good morning for Ahmed. I hope all of you doing well. And my name is Sadiq Rajabi. I'm from Afghanistan, and it's around 3 months, more than 3 months. I'm in Canada. I came to Canada, so now I'm going to school because the first challenge I faced in here that. So, and for the long terms that I'm thinking about, so it's to be have a good future, like to be have a good job. So that's all I have. I'm doing right now. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Sadiq. Oh, we can't hear you, Ali.
Oh dear.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Good, good. I got nervous a little bit. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us here. And I'm also very glad to be here. My name is Ali Razan Azari, and I'm originally from Afghanistan. I was 18 years old when I was forced to leave the country due to war and discrimination. And I ended up in Indonesia without knowing that actually previously when I left the country. And when I arrived in Indonesia, I found myself in a refugee camp that I stayed there. I was locked there for 4 years. And the life in that refugee camp was truly tough. And it was beyond imagination that how much we suffered. And but I myself kept the hope that one day I would get out of that situation. I would be free. So I took my time as much as I could to learn English, to read books, to do exercises, and besides that, helping my friends to learn English and also do all sorts of positive activity we could. And by the way, I was in Indonesia for 9 years. And I'm passionate person in terms of, I was in Afghanistan, I was grade 9 when I was forced to leave school. And that, you know, feeling of losing a school was something very hard for me. And I never knew that someday I would be able to, again, that I would make it back to school and I could continue education and I could achieve my good future through education, until I arrived in Indonesia in October 2023, last year. And of course, one of the hero in my story through this group of sponsorship process is David Barnes, which I'm forever grateful for. And I arrived in Canada now. I think that's a little bit about myself. So if you have more questions, then we'll go further. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you all for sharing. That was wonderful. So the next question, and some of you kind of already answered it, but is what you're hoping to do with your future.
Am I answering this question?
You can answer that question. Yep, go for it.
Okay, so yeah, currently since I've arrived in Canada, you know, arriving in Canada is first of all, it's hard. When we were in Indonesia, we had never imagined that someday we could be resettled and we could live freely like this that we are having today. And since we stayed in Indonesia for so long time and we demonstrated and we did all we could to get our voice across, and somebody could really take action in order to rescue us from that situation. And by the way, we were lucky enough that we got into Canada. And when we were arriving in Canada, actually, we have, for the first few months, we have some sorts of confusion, like, you know, you have to work, you have to study. So it depends on the people's life situation and their future goals. But for me personally, I wanted to realize the dream that I'm going back to school and I'm going to study. So I want to make that dream a reality, that I'm not just thinking about it, but I'm making it happen. Because from the time I left school in Afghanistan and the time that I'm going to school now, it is how much? I think 15 years time. And I wanted to make that dream come true. So when I was in Indonesia, thankfully I'm really feeling lucky that I took my time to study, and I did, and I wasn't away from that. I learned English, I did all I could. So now I have applied for the UFT transitional year program, you know, University of Toronto transitional year program, and also I have applied for George Brown College, and I have done all the process for application requirement in the UFT, and I'm waiting for the result. If that is not gonna happening, then I will be definitely going for George Brown, and I'm hoping to study business administration. And besides that, yeah, I'm happy that I'm freely moving around. I met my friends. I have my identity right now. I'm not shy, or I'm not scared of telling who I am, where I'm from, without feeling of being judged or without feeling of being discriminated. And my future hope and dream is that someday I can graduate from, you know, college or university. I get my degree, I get a good job, or hopefully start a business. And my ultimate dream would be that I can make something, an organization or a business, where through this organization or business, I can help the people who are in need, who are like a refugee. Because I know the pain that what it feels to be a refugee, is stateless, hopeless, and so having the quest that somebody is out there to take your hand. I know, and I also understand the feeling that when there were people who were telling me that, Ali, we're going to help you, and we are going to sponsor you, we're giving you that hope that you will be arriving in Canada and you will be safe and you will be okay. And I know that how much I was happy, and I know what does it mean for the people. So my ultimate dream would be that someday, I'm praying for this, I'm fighting for this, I'm working for this, that I get to somewhere that I'm so grateful that I'm in Canada, and this is the country of dreaming and doing and achieving. And I believe the possibility that I can achieve what I want, and so I can help the people. I know the crisis in the world will never be ended. It's happening after one another, but at least having the people like this and the community like this gives us the belief that humanity is still alive, and gives us the belief that we can realize our dream, realize our hope, and reinventing ourselves. For me, it is totally a newborn living for me, because almost 25 to 80 years of my life were wasted. And now I'm finding myself back, and I'm gratefully living, and I'm working that someday I can make this hope alive again for somebody else. Thank you.
Ali, thank you so much for sharing. And I love the passion when you're talking.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So I think that we're out of time for this part, so I'm gonna have to pass it along to Robin.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. And thank you so much for sharing these experiences. They're really meaningful. So for this segment of the webinar, we're going to use that same question answer format and speak with some folks who've sponsored some of our newcomers. This is really informal, so I'll put the question out there, and David and the other sponsors, please just feel free to jump in as you see fit to answer the questions. So for the first question we have, how did you get involved in sponsorship in the first place? What brought you to sponsorship in the first place?
That's a great question. I'd love Claire to start with, because she probably has a good answer for us.
Sure.
Well, thanks, David. David brought me to this. We are neighbors at up north, and David's been talking about this off and on, and I've met different people who've been up at the cottage, and I got involved very peripherally, just trying to write up some stories, and then David asked us if we could just be part of a sponsorship team, and we said yes. It was that simple.
And I think the other thing, Claire, that happened, and Sadiq, and you can speak to this, but Sadiq was the person that Claire connected with to talk.
Right.
And I think it really gave me this whole idea that this is about the human connection, because I still remember that when you spoke to Sadiq and he spoke to you, that there was a connection and we needed to do something.
I should tell you that Sadiq is upstairs, and I'm in the dining room, and he's in a room upstairs. So
yeah, and he's on mute right now too.
Right. That's how we started, made this connection. Sadiq and I would talk on Tuesday morning for me and evening for him, and we got to know each other. And so by the time he came, which was a year and a half after we started the process, maybe something like that, we knew each other. And so that made it quite easy, actually. And we'd done different things together. So it was easy. It was easy. It's easy to do. You just, what's nice? You get to say yes, which is a good thing.
Mm.
Absolutely. And it sounds like that's a lasting connection, because he's sitting right upstairs right now. That's beautiful.
Right over my head.
I love that. I love that. So for a second question, and again, I'll put it out there, feel free to answer how you see fit or wherever it works for you. What have been some of your best experiences as a sponsor?
I think Fernando's got lots of questions to add and lots of comments to make.
I'm sure he does.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, good morning, and thank you for the invitation. I just wanted to piggyback on Claire's answer in regards to how I got involved. David Barnes has this uncanny ability to connect people, and he has these tentacles that reach out to the right people at the right time. So I got brought in by that same wave as well. In looking at the plight of young refugees who want to come to Canada and settle here, it resonates with me because my own family will next month celebrate 60 years of being here in Canada. We immigrated from Portugal, family of mother, father, and 5 kids the typical immigrant family, immigrant story, arriving here with 10 suitcases, 7 people in the family, $200 in my dad's pocket, and no relatives, no friends here, and no jobs. And so that was enough motivation for me to be happy to join along with the rest of you who are involved in helping a new batch of new Canadians arrive. So I'll stop there at this point.
No, that's fantastic. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I'll pose another question. So is there anything that has surprised you along your journey being a sponsor? You go into it kind of, I assume, thinking one thing, but along the process, has there been anything that surprised you?
That's a good question.
Tough question, yeah. But...
Well, it is, but one of the things I'm going to start just very quickly. What not is I don't know if surprise is the right word, but just a realization of how much that I got out of it. I get out of it by meeting new people, and how much I learned from them about resiliency and strength. When I think I have a big worry or a problem to solve, it's really amazing when we listen to the resilience and the strength of our newcomer friends and what they teach us. And so for me, that has been just a great reward to be part of this. So I'll stop.
I would add the word resilience as well. That's the first thing that came to my mind, and it's not a surprise, but it's a pleasant realization that the incredible resilience that these new Canadians bring with them. And it's not surprising because many of them have had 8, 10, 12 years or more waiting in the process, waiting in limbo. I cannot imagine what that might feel like, especially when so many of them went into Indonesia at a very early age and have literally grown up there in terms of 10 years or 12 years experience. So for me, that resilience and that motivation, that learning patience is just incredible.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know the students are going to be speaking a little bit later, but I have a feeling that we'll all be echoing that same sentiment around resilience for sure. So I know time is kind of clicking along, so I really appreciate you sharing. Thank you so much. That's very meaningful. And at this point, I'll pass it along to you, Mian.
Thank you, Robin. And now our next segment is to show you a virtual art tour. And let me tell you, we have so many incredibly talented artists are waiting in Indonesia, and we do not want that talent to be wasted in that way. And Canadians, they are well known for diversity, for art, their love for art. So we thought it's a good idea to share with you their art stories as well. And as you can see, Rebecca is having an image and as a virtual background. That is also one of those art pieces which we received from our Indonesian friends. And now I'm going to show you a short video which will show you how incredibly and exceptionally talented artists actually we have in Indonesia, and those needs to be brought in Canada as soon as possible. So without any further ado, let me just share my screen with you. That was a virtual art tour, and I personally love those art pieces. Whenever I look those, it gives me a new energy, a positive energy to work for their dreams and for their hopes. And let me tell you, the fact we all are a group of volunteers except bonds management, which is our only corporate sponsor at the moment. We do not have any funding at the moment, and we believe that this is a community driven project, and from community support only we can help those people who are waiting in Indonesia and even in other countries as well. Because the more and more we are raising awareness, the more we are getting we are getting from their side also to bring them into Canada. So this is not about Indonesia; it is spreading now in different other countries as well. And now let me just give you a quick tour of our website also, where I want to share with you different type of resources. So this is the website for Canadiansandrefugees.com. And we just try to make it as simple as we can. And we are keep adding new resources day by day. If you go to resources, you will see there are multiple resources for sponsors, for Hazara Hope, Northern Lights. Actually, these are our corporate partners, and we believe that strong partnerships are required to fulfill the hopes and dreams of those refugees. So we are always open to building new partnerships. And if any of the today's attendees, if you have any relationships with any art galleries or any clue about any funding which can help in any way, that would be great. And we will be really glad to know more about that. You can reach us personally if you have any information with regards to any art galleries or art festival, which is one of our intention also to do it so that we can show that talent to the world. So apart from that, we have resources for refugees as well, which can help them settle in Canada. For example, how to open a bank account, how to get a driver's license, how to get a health card. And we do have a few resources, particularly for sponsors as well. And other than that, we have two different databases on our websites. If you click on register tab, then you will see there are two databases linked to this website. One is registered as a caring community member, and the other one is registered as a refugee. So this is for those people who are waiting out of Canada, and there is a criteria which is either you have to have a UNHCR documentation and or else in that country's national documentation which accepts you as a refugee, and then they can register here as a refugee. And once their turn will come, then we will find sponsorship teams for them. At the moment, if I can tell you, we have more than 300 people who are waiting in the queue to get sponsorship teams from Canada. Now, this other tab, which is registered as a caring community member, if you click on this, it will ask you a few questions. And this is not only for people to help us as sponsors. If you want to help us as a volunteer, if you want to help us in any capacity, you can join us and you can click on this link and you can answer those few questions and you will become part of that caring community. And the purpose of today's webinar is also not only to raise awareness, but also to get some humanitarian support from your side. So I will encourage all of you to please visit this website. And if you feel you can help in any capacity, then you can click this tab and you can fill your information. And then you can please join us on Facebook. We have our pages on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. And later we will be posting this webinar video to our social media pages as well. Apart from this, I would like to just mention quickly, there is an online course also, which we have designed in last few months. That's called Arist. Arist, an online website similar to other online website like Coursera. The only difference, it works as a bite-sized learning. You get to enroll with your phone number or with your WhatsApp, and you will receive a short written message, which will take only a minute or two of your time. And in 5 to 6 days, you can learn about the whole sponsorship process and about Canadians and refugees building bridges together. So we will share that link also after this webinar, and please try to enroll in that course as well. No, that was something about our website and our resources. No, the next segment is about our incredible students, and they have done a lot of work during the last few months. And I would like to pass on to them, and please share your experiences.
Thank you so much, Mian. That was great information to share in terms of resources. And the artwork was beautiful and powerful. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. So we really appreciate your time and your energy today, this morning, wherever you're joining from. I'm joining from St. John, New Brunswick. And as stated earlier, I'm one of the 5 students in the Master of Social Work program through the University of Windsor that has had the amazing opportunity to work with David and his team. Together, we've embarked on this journey, this humanitarian mission, really, to help improve the lives of refugees who've been deprived of their basic human needs. Like our volunteers, each of us connected across the globe to help support their successful integration into Canadian society. Along this journey, we developed meaningful relationships with our refugee neighbors. We shared our experiences with like-minded folks in our local community, the way I like to call it is care. That to offer support in sponsoring refugees. Our experiences have been short, where New Grenada, Canada, and be more vibrant as a result of that. Watch sponsor full experience. So I'm going to pass it along to one of my peers to go through their experience as well.
Thank you so much, Robin. My name is Shaheen, and I'm, as Robin explained, I'm a student of Master of Social Work, and I'm a newcomer to Canada. I was forced to leave my country. I'm originally Iranian. I was forced to leave my country in 2012, went to Australia, and ended up in Canada. And I had the privilege in volunteering in this program and working with 2 wonderful individuals in Indonesia during last 3 months. And I found it a rewarding experience. And I strongly suggest to people to volunteer in this program. And the main reason that I found it an exceptional experience was the impact on me as a person and the impact on these wonderful individuals on the other side of the world. If I want to talk about what I gained from volunteering, it would be impossible in just this short of time. But I can mention to it was a healing process for me as well, because I had to deal with my own trauma and survival guilt and many other issues that I had and I have. And the other thing that I learned from these wonderful individuals was the strength, resourcefulness, and resilience that they demonstrate in this situation they have. They live in a tough situation. And the other things that I believe I could offer to these individuals was emotional support. Well, I speak the same language as these refugees. And at first I thought it would be easier to offer this kind of emotional support, but I found myself in a situation that I couldn't find the right words in Farsi, because all of training that I received in Canada about supporting, counseling, and everything was in English. So I had to build up a new form of, relationship with these people, and I'm happy to say that it was successful. And as I said, I strongly suggest that you volunteer in this program because of the impact on yourself and other people. Thank you so much for listening to me. And I pass it on to Camille for her wonderful stories as well.
Thank you so much, Shaheem. My name is Camille. So like Shaheem, I'm from the University of Windsor and their social work program. I come to this work as an immigrant myself. My family had to leave Jamaica because of economic reasons. So this is why I'm in Canada. Rich, when I started that project, I was a little bit kind of apprehensive about it because I know my own kind of path in terms of being an immigrant and understanding the journey of pain and suffering, although we all experience it differently, but know what it's like to be hungry. You know, back home, sometimes I didn't have lunch, so I know what it's like to feel hunger. And I got involved, and it was life-changing for me because it really humbled me. I met this amazing young woman who is just brilliant and is just looking for an opportunity. And I got involved and I started working with her. And just the conversations that we have definitely humbles me every Thursday. Right now I'm helping her with her resume writing and to get her story out there because she has so much life to live. She's from Afghanistan, but she's in Pakistan right now. And it's taught me so much about international laws and so on and so forth, because she is waiting to get an interview for the UNHCR. And of course, that's taken forever because of the red tape. And just helping her navigate that world too definitely humbles me. And just the little things that she says to me makes my day when we talk on WhatsApp, and she'll be, thank you so much. Just that thank you really makes me see how rewarding this experience is. And if it's one thing you can get away from me tonight, is just when you invest in people, you see the goodness of humanity. And just the little bit that I've done has definitely improve this woman's life tremendously. So I'm hoping that when you hear our stories, that you will consider to volunteer or become a sponsor, or whatever way that you can contribute to somebody's life to make it a lot better. It's just so meaningful and rewarding. So I'm going to pass it on to I can't see anyone, sorry. I'm going to pass it on to Anna.
Thank you so much, Camille. Good evening, everyone. Good morning to our refugee friends as well. My name is Anna, and I feel privileged to be here today. I'm also one of the MSW students from University of Windsor. I'm deeply grateful for the chance to be part of the Canadian and the Refugee Neighbor Project, and really meeting and forming bonds with my refugee friends from Indonesia really has touched me deeply over these past few months. This project has resonated with me more so on a personal level because I'm also the daughter of refugees myself. So through my interactions with this very resilient community, I also had the opportunity to gain deeper insight about their experiences, but also about what my parents endured as well. My parents lived in Vietnam during the aftermath of the war, and they escaped by boat to Malaysia, where they also lived on a refugee camp and they were eventually sponsored through the private sponsorship program. So this experience has really helped me appreciate my parents' journey in a way that I had not before. In addition to this, connecting with the refugee friends who also share my age but come from different backgrounds has really been eye-opening. Everyone I've connected with has been so strong, so full of light, and had so much resilience. And really, you know, despite our very diverse life experiences, we also have a lot of things in common, such as for the people I've connected with playing games and watching shows. So I really recommend this experience to anyone seeking to make a positive impact in the lives of refugees. But also, it's not just about giving back to the community, but it's also receiving, you know, valuable lessons and perspectives from people that we also want to support. So I hope everyone can consider getting involved in the private sponsorship program at BMG, or pass along our information to your family and friends who might be interested as well. So thank you. And I would like to pass this along to Rebecca to share her experience.
It's my turn again. I obviously don't need to introduce myself because I've already done that. So I'm not going to lie. I'm given 2 minutes, and that is not nearly enough time to genuinely share how amazing this experience has been. So I think you've heard from everybody else, and I am very much on the same page. The difference is that I came into this experience with very, very little knowledge about refugees or any experience working with them. So unlike everybody else who has a lot more connection to this community, this was brand new for me. That did not stop anything. And I am going to tell you 2 stories, actually, and I will try to keep them short enough to stay in my time. But I have met 2 amazing individuals during this time. All the people I've met are wonderful, but specifically these 2 people have really, when we're talking about resilience and strength, there's no other way to explain it than these 2 young men. So one of which is in Indonesia right now. His name is Ayet, and some of you on this call have signed my petition, so you know exactly what story I'm about to tell. He is in a really bad situation. He's 18. His family was in Bangladesh. They recently took the treacherous boat ride over to Indonesia, made it, which is amazing in and of itself, only to then be held by the smugglers who brought them with refusal to be released. So Ayet was very brave, and he got the police, and the smugglers were arrested. However, story doesn't end there. Ayet is still in big trouble. There is a bounty on his head at this point because he has, you know, gone against the system, if you will. So he is going to be moved. I didn't know how to help him from so far away. He is brilliant. And we came up with some plans, and Mian helped us as well. And we've gone to the media, and we've done the petition, and it's working. He heard just the other day that they are starting the process. So he's going to be moved to another part of the country in order to keep him safe with his family. So it sounds like a really heavy story, but it's actually a story of amazing change. Like, this young man made a difference. He helped figure out how we're going to get him out of this situation. And from here, I can't do much, but I can write an email. And I wrote many, and it mattered. And we got responses, and it made a difference. So it's just to say, like, sometimes it feels like we're too far away to help, and that's not true. We can make a difference. The other young man I just wanted to quickly tell you about, his name is Levin. He is in Kenya. So he hasn't seen his parents since he was 12 when he arrived in Kenya. He has younger siblings that he's been taking care of since then. He's now 20. And he is probably the happiest person I've ever met in my life, which is incredible because most of the time he goes without food and water. So, you know, the things that we take for granted, and he's just, every time I talk to him, he's just so excited and he's so happy, and he's like, there's only good things that can happen. And like, he just has such a bright outlook on life. And I think that that's something that's just, for me, has been such an incredible experience to see someone who, I mean, he understands, he knows his life is, you know, not great, but it doesn't matter. He sees the bright side, and he's just such a positive force. And so those are the 2 stories I just needed to share with everybody tonight.
Thank you, Rebecca. And Zahra, if you would like to share anything, because you are also part of this project, although in a different capacity, but if you would like to share anything, otherwise we can move on to the next segment.
Pardon? Yeah.
Do you want to share your experience as a you already shared as a newcomer, but as a student, as a practicum student, if you would like to share your experience?
Yeah. So as a student, I can't add too much to that, but I can say that I've been around 9 months in Canada, and as I said, I'm studying Master of Professional Communication at Toronto Metropolitan University. At first, one of my biggest challenges, let's say, was, fitting into the environment, weather-wise. That's funny because I wasn't able to, I don't know, fit into the weather condition all the time, like wanted to have like some blankets, with me. But no, I don't have anything else to add to that. I'm also privileged to be here at BMG and also CRBBT, and I'm really happy to be here with you guys.
Thank
That's
you.
from me.
That's I used to call it other than cultural shock, it's a weather shock also, especially
Yeah,
for
weather
those
shock,
people
yes.
who come from the Middle East and from the Gulf countries, because that part of the world is extreme hot, and when you land here, it's extreme cold. Even my own in my own situation a few years back when I came here from Dubai, it was extreme hot, and in the month of December, I was shivering here due to cold. So that's a weather shock for us as well. But thank you for your contributions in terms of our digital presence and social media.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And
I
one
can,
more time, sorry,
yeah,
one more time, don't forget to follow us. Like I want to share again our links here to the chat. So yeah, I'll put it just as a notice. That's it. And
thank
thank you.
you. Thank you, Zahra. And Rahmat, I can see you have a hand raised up.
Yes, I just wanted to say something a little bit on the urgency of sponsoring refugees from Indonesia. If that's okay with you all. Just a few more minutes. Yeah, so the reason I really want to a little bit emphasize on sponsoring refugees from Indonesia is that, I saw some of those pictures and I've been like really kind of holding myself together, not to really think about all the pain and all the problems the refugees have gone throughout a decade and more. Is that, sometimes things happen that we believe it cannot get any worse. A refugee who has been in limbo for a decade, and then there's a bad news, like your mother passed away, your father passed away, and their friends are like, don't have the slightest idea what to do. How are we supposed to say this guy that for the last 1 decade that you have been here with a lot of these problems, and now you can't see your mom anymore, you can't see your dad anymore? So it's really heartbreaking. And also there are refugees, I see that they look like 15 years older than their real age, and all that's the side, that's the effects of all this stress and all this uncertainty that they have in their life. And I'm sure, like, everybody, all the people in Canada, they're free with their lives, they have a lot to do. And I think I really humbly request you guys that if you could come to our Sunday Zoom call just for 1 hour every week, and I'm sure in the first few sessions, you will have a change of heart. You would see that these people they really need your attention. I mean, a little bit of your attention. Um, I really don't know why the people, they really invest a lot of their time on things related to celebrity news and many more things, but they really have, like, no time just to think about, like, the refugees, the displaced people who do not have any idea what's going to happen next. I see my friends here, they come to me and they say, what should we do? We don't have any idea what's going to happen tomorrow. And I think that's the challenge that most of them, they cannot really concentrate on building a skill and preparing themselves for future, because they don't know what happens tomorrow. And every day the behavior of UNHCR and some very small organizations which are mainly there to support the refugees, they're really giving us some very discouraging news, such as the UNHCR, whenever the people go there to see if they're, how are the chances of resettlement and so on. The only reason they receive it that we can't give you anything. It's like you might never go, you might never like leave this country, you might be here stateless for forever. And that's really hard. That's really hard to receive that kind of news while everything is really as bad as it could be. So yeah, the time that you guys invest on sponsoring a refugee, being part of this care community, it is going to be life-changing. It's going to help the refugees drastically in a way that I cannot really, you guys cannot imagine. So yeah, please take the time to look at our website, the Canadian and Refugees Building Bridges Together. Feel free to come to our community, Sunday Zoom calls. I'm sure you get the details on the website. Now, the reason I say that, I'm saying it all on the behalf of all the refugees that are stuck. Around 13,000 refugees are stuck in Indonesia, in limbo, and with lots of restriction. You cannot believe, you cannot travel freely, you cannot get education, which is the basic need. I mean, how can getting education would be a crime in any part of the world? But it is here. I really do not know what are the principles, how really that rule applies here, but that is what it is. So please, if you guys could help us in any way possible, it's going to help our change our life like forever. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rahmat, for raising the importance and the urgency of this matter. And that is what exactly in our last segment, David is going to talk about the importance of human connection and corporate social responsibility and how to get involved. So now I would like to request again, David, to please.
Sure. Thank you so much. And I know that our time is running out, but just wanted to say a few words, and then there's much more can be said later on. But one of the things that we want to do, everybody has a different amount of energy and time and skill that they want to get involved. And so tonight is really to just bring awareness to this program, is to think about whether or not you have the capacity, or if you know somebody else that might. And one of the things that the students have worked on that I'm really excited about is something that we're calling this Canadian Neighbor Volunteer Program. It's really the one-to-one connection. And it's very much like what the students experienced, because when they started their placement at BMG, they had no idea really what they were getting into. And so we assigned each person, they started to work with about 4 different refugees to get to know them, not to be necessarily on a team, because not everybody can do that. We understand that. But it's to get to know people and then to figure out how you might be able to advocate for them. So one of the programs that we want to talk about just very brief tonight, and then we'll follow up, is whether or not we can find volunteers who are willing to form that one-to-one relationship, not to necessarily make a commitment to a sponsor, because that may not be possible, but people know people. And if we're able to build that bridge, make that human connection, and then talk to other people, before you know it, we can have teams together. Because I truly believe that we have so many people in our world that would welcome the opportunity to get involved, if that's at all possible. Okay, so, and then there's other people who might have skills in the area of teaching language or math, whatever. So there's many, many different ways to volunteer. But tonight, one of the things that we wanted to just talk a little bit about was building this human connection and seeing if we could expand our network, because we're a country of networkers, volunteers. We get to know people. And that's all we're asking, is if we can start to spread the word to find those human connections. And then we'll support each volunteer who is able to contribute a little bit of time to get to know somebody else. So I'm not going to go into all the details around the sponsorship because there's so many details that you've been listening now for an hour. But it's really important that we start to think about this, think about who we know, who might be interested, who might be willing to form a connection, much like what Claire talked about. Claire got involved to write a story, and then she started to understand more. And then before you know it, we had a team together. Again, it's just looking at our own network where we can build this. So I'm going to stop there. It's so important in our society of diversity, how we bring inclusion in, how we work together, how we understand the other. And to me, this is an incredible opportunity for us to broaden our worldview and to get involved with people that have taught us so much. I have so many stories I could tell about the cooking I've experienced, the kindness I've experienced through these relationships. It's phenomenal. And I would just love other people to have those same experiences. So I'm going to stop there and see if there's any questions that we want to raise before we end.
Yeah, we have actually allocated few minutes to question and answer session, and we are already over time, but it's okay. If there is any question, then
yeah,
we are happy to answer that.
We must have done a good job in answering all their questions as we went along, but I think for me, one of the most powerful things was to hear the stories that the students shared with you, with us, because those are the folks that came into this not knowing what to expect, and they have left with incredible stories. And I see Sadiq has his hand up over there, so let's hear from Sadiq.
Well, I have a question. Is a newcomer can be a main sponsor?
Yes, absolutely. A newcomer who is already settled here and has a PR card, they can be on teams. And that is something that we are reaching out to a lot of our newcomer friends who are able to be on a team with other Canadians. It's a great way for them to also get to know other Canadians in a very different way. And they can also sponsor people that they know. And when that person comes here, there's a wonderful network already established through our newcomer friends that are already here. So absolutely. Any other questions? Anybody want to put their hand to say anything, or even just a reflection of what you've heard tonight? Anything that you just want to share? Okay, nothing? No?
So in chat, we have a comment from Reham. There are many racing questions indeed, and so much inspiration. I'm so proud of the University of Windsor students, as I come from part of their journey as proof of the School of Social Work, University of Windsor. This also started as a conversation, and now it's a beautiful reality. Thank you. It is a beautiful reality.
That's wonderful. Thank you. You know, one thing I can say is that we don't have a script. We don't have a plan. We have a dream, and we are working towards that dream, and it keeps moving in different directions. And the work that the students have done this year to create a support program, many different ideas that we want to be able to implement. And this building neighborhood connections is something that I'm so excited about, because that's where the change will happen. It's going to be the one-to-one connections that people make, and we see where it goes from there.
I would also like to thank everyone for showing today and bearing with us, especially with me, because we were having some difficulties at the beginning, but ultimately it was all good. So I just would like to focus on the fact, like, Canada is all about diversity, and being Canadian, we are taking it very seriously when it comes to help other Canadians. And we should help our own community or our own future. As somebody said, coming together is a beginning, and staying together is progress, and by working together is success. So if we all can work together, it's already become a success. So please come forward, join hands. Even a small contribution can help. It does not meant to be you have to come up with the monetary sponsorship, but you can come up with other options as well. You can volunteer your time. You can provide any type of help. You can refer to your friends. You can just have a word with your own community and tell them about refugee stories, about this webinar, about the work we are doing it. So that is also a kind of help. And we are so grateful to have you tonight. And thank you so much. And David, if there are no questions, if you want to have closing remarks, please do so.
No, I just want to echo what everybody has already said, what people have shared, because I think the future is going to be in our ability collectively to make the human connections with people. And once we get to meet people, once we have a conversation, there is a connection that's made. And that's all we ask, is that we find people there who are willing to do that and spread the word. And I think it's just one person at a time. It's amazing who you meet, say, oh, by the way, can I talk to you about something? Before you know it, you got somebody else involved. And also, like Meanne read a little quote, but I had one that I always come back to. This will not solve the refugee crisis in the world, but it will make a world of difference to the one person that we can connect with. And that's what's always drives me, is that we can only do so much, and it's rewarding, and we can work with each other. So thank you again for sharing your time tonight. It's so meaningful to all of us. It keeps us motivated to keep going. So thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Guys.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye. Have a rest, Ramat. You've been up for a long time already.
Yeah, sure. I will take a nap now.
Thank you, Rahmat. Really appreciated your time. Thank you.